All right, good morning, everybody. Happy Earth Day. Thank you for joining us today. It's a historic day, not just for those of us here on Long Island, but really across the state and around the world. 49th Earth Day. What great progress we've made. So this morning, you're going to hear from the governor about his efforts to protect and preserve New York State. I've had the great honor of now working for him for 8 years, and I've had a front row seat to a really incredible level of accomplishment on the environment. I know firsthand what accomplishment means under this governor. Action, words are just that. Action is really where it happens and where it ends. He not only speaks about the environment like a proud parent and a proud fisherman, but he's constantly looking for ways to improve and to lead not just our state but our country. And while so much of the talk on the environment these days is of the federal government weakening protections, looking for ways to bring us backwards a generation, the talk in New York is so much different. I mean, the list of accomplishments in New York is truly staggering. What the governor has done on parks, open spaces, clean energy, setting aside some of these incredible lands and opening up opportunities for all people in New York to enjoy the environment. We really have accomplished incredible things over 8 years. And make no mistake, I know the governor's not done. There's an incredible amount left to do. But really, it's all thanks to the governor. And it's now my real honor, my pleasure to announce the 56th governor of New York, Andrew Cuomo.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Happy Earth Day. As Basil Sagos said, I have little fish on my tie in honor of Earth Day. You can't see them from where you are, but take my word for it. I want to thank LIU very much, and I want to thank Dr. Klein and the trustees for their hospitality and allowing us to be here today. Let's give LIU a round of applause. Basil Sagos has done an extraordinary job as commissioner. He's right. He alluded to the philosophy of this administration, which is not what you say, it's what you do, right? This is a time in our, literally, planet's history where we need action. It's not about rhetoric anymore. It's about getting things done. It's about making a change and making a change fast. And the government is not especially good at that. You know, we're good at talking about it. We're good at debating it, but we're not good at actually getting things done. And Basil Sagos has brought more change to this state's environment than any environmental commissioner in the history of the state of New York. And let's give him another round of applause. You're going to hear from Eric Goldstein, who's the Senior Attorney Director at NRDC, who is the font of all environmental wisdom and has been a great asset to the state of New York and to me personally. Eric Goldstein. You're going to hear from Suffolk's great county executive, who himself has been a leader in the environment, what he's doing on water quality, what he's doing in putting in water treatment all across the county. He really has led the way on this issue of plastic bags. Suffolk County led the way. Steve Ballone, let's give him a round of applause. And I have my colleagues in the legislature who make it all possible. Nothing happens unless we pass a law. And to pass a law, you need the Senate to approve, and you need the Assembly to approve. So everything happens with the legislative body, and many of them are here today, and they're proud of it. I'm going to go through their names. Let's hold the applause. Otherwise, we'll be here all day. Senator Jim Gorin, it's his district. Good to be with you. Senator John Brooks, Senator Anna Kaplan, Assemblyman Steve Engelbright, who, as you know, has led so many environmental efforts. Assemblywoman Szilagyi, Assemblywoman Taylor Rayner, Assemblyman Person Judy Griffin, Assemblywoman Alicia Heidemann, Assemblyman Steve Otis, and Assemblyman Clyde Vannell. Let's give them a round of applause. So this year, the legislature's here because they just finished the state budget. We call it a budget, but it's actually more than a budget. It's really the whole action plan for the state for that year. Many of the main laws that we're going to pass are all done in the budget. And when we started this budget process, we said that we would have the best budget the state has ever done for Long Island. And we said that last year, and that's what we delivered. It's a budget that brings about $18 billion to Long Island, but also brings major changes to Long Island. Makes the property tax cap permanent at 2%. For those young people in the room, you don't know what that means yet. One day you will, and you will be grateful for the 2% property tax cap. More funding for education than ever before in the history of the state of New York. We have record-breaking criminal justice reform that for the first time brings real justice to the criminal justice system and ends cash bail, which basically said we have a justice system that is dependent on wealth. And if you can pay the bail, then you can leave. If you're not wealthy enough to pay the bail, you have to go sit in jail. That was not justice. Justice was never based on wealth. And now that has been reformed in our criminal justice reform. So congratulations to the legislature. And we led the way on the environment once again, which is more and more of a pressing problem. And the issue we dealt with today is this. Looks harmless enough, right? This. You squish it up, gets very small, you can almost see it. How dangerous can that be? That is very, very, very dangerous. The average American family, 1,500 plastic bags per year. The average length of use of the bag is 12 minutes. And this bag will outlive all of us in this room. Americans use 100 billion plastic bags per year. 12 million barrels of oil are used to make the plastic bags. New Yorkers, 23 billion plastic bags a year. Now, you see them every day because they never go away. You see them hanging in trees in some communities like bizarre Christmas ornaments. You see them blowing down the streets. You see them in landfills. You see them in our waterways all over. I've been fishing 40 miles out to sea, and I found plastic bags. They're everywhere. And there's no doubt that they're doing tremendous damage. By 2050, there will be more plastic by weight in the oceans than fish. Just think about that. How frightening is that? So, it makes no sense. So just stop, right? This is not a major inconvenience. We can provide bags that are reusable. Just stop. Yeah, just stop. But change is hard. You know, change, we all say we like change, we want change, change is good. But we really don't want change. Change is traumatic. We like control. You know, the husband and wife sitting at the breakfast table in the morning, and the wife looks at the husband and says, you know, things have to change. And he looks back and says, oh, I know, things have to change. Yeah, they're each talking about the other one. You know, we want to continue doing what we're doing. So the banning of plastic bags has been something that we have fought for years, literally. But think about it. It is a minor inconvenience. We can provide bags that are reusable. When you go to the store, you use the reusable bag and you bring it home. That's it. Well, then I have to remember that you bring the reusable bag. Yes. Like you have to remember to go to the store, and you have to remember to bring your keys, and you have to remember to find a way to get there, and you have to bring your wallet or your purse to pay, and don't forget the phone, because you can't go anywhere without the phone. So yes, you have to remember to bring the reusable bag. But in the scope of life, it is such a trivial thing to do, especially when it's doing such damage. And this bag issue is not in isolation. You would have to be blind not to see what's going on with our environment. You would have to be blind not to see the effect of climate change. You'd have to be blind not to see extreme weather everywhere, literally on the television, internationally. You'd have to literally live in a state of denial to say, well, none of this is happening. This is just circumstantial and cyclical. Baloney. We are literally destroying the planet. And we know it. We see the changes. But change is hard, especially change when people are in patterns and changing the way people live their lives. But that's what we have to do. And we don't even have a choice. And that's why New York State is not just like any other state, he says with New York arrogance. New York, by history, by our legacy, we always led on the tough problems first. You look at all the major reforms, all the major issues, many of them started right here in New York. New York started the social rights movement, the economic rights movement, the civil rights movement, the gay rights movement, the women's rights movement. That all started here. Workers' rights started here. Child labor laws started here. Worker protection laws started here. The environmental movement started here on the Hudson River at Storm King. That's where it started. And New York has always been a state of firsts. Our theory has been expose the problem and then lead the way on the solution. Even on the Department of Environmental Conservation was started here on Earth Day, 1970, before the federal government ever set up an environmental agency. So happy birthday to DEC, Commissioner Sager. (1885), state set up the first state park at Niagara Falls. 1900, Teddy Roosevelt started conservation with the Palisades Cliff and then conserved millions and millions of acres, making the state a model of state parks and conservation. 1984, a governor named Mario Cuomo started bringing attention to an issue called acid rain that nobody wanted to focus on, which was poisoning our lakes and our rivers and killing our fish. Our job now as New Yorkers is to continue, because the commissioner is exactly right. The federal government either wants to deny, wants to dispute, or out of convenience wants to ignore. They want to say, this is all mythology, climate change. There's no proof. Extreme weather just is coincidental. And they want to burn more fossil fuels, more oil exploration. They proposed offshore drilling off the shore of Long Island. They want to favor those industries that created this problem in the first place. We're going the exact opposite way. We're the state that said when the federal government pulled out of the Paris Accords, we're going to set up a U.S. climate change coalition to enforce those same regulations. We are the state that banned fracking, that funds the Environmental Protection Fund at record amounts. We have the most aggressive carbon-free electric plan by 2040 in the nation, $1.5 billion in renewable projects. And think globally, act locally. Here on Long Island, we're about to announce the largest offshore wind project in the United States of America, off Long Island. The most aggressive building of artificial reefs. We have a shellfish restoration program that we're doing. We're doing more rehabilitation of state parks than ever before. We're rebuilding the Bay Park wastewater treatment facility that was poisoning water on the South Shore. We just announced last week a bill that will protect Manhattan, which is a bait fish, which drives many other species. It's a bill Assemblyman Engelbright fought for a long time, and we got it done. Congratulations, Assemblyman Engelbright. It is New York's destiny to lead, and there probably is no more important issue to lead on than on the issue of the environment. Teddy Roosevelt, who was a great environmentalist before they even called it an environmentalist, said, "I recognize the right and duty of this generation to develop and use the natural resources of our land, but I do not recognize the right to waste them or to rob them by wasteful use from generations that come after us." The Native Americans have a beautiful proverb that says the same thing, even more simply and more humanistically. We did not inherit the earth from our parents. We are borrowing it from our children. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind, and it changes your whole perspective on how you live your life. We are borrowing it from our children. And our responsibility as parents, as citizens, is to leave this place better, safer, cleaner than we found it. And we have a long way to go before we can say we've left them a state, a country, a planet that is safer and cleaner than the one we inherited. But New York will lead the way. Thank you, and God bless you.
Please welcome Eric Goldstein, Senior Director, NRDC.
Thank you very much, Governor. Thank you, Commissioner Sagos and County Executive Ballone and distinguished guests and everybody else. You're all distinguished as far as we're concerned. Today is a wonderful day to celebrate Earth Day. First of all, it's April 22nd. It actually is Earth Day, so that's a nice thing. And secondly, and most importantly, despite everything that's been happening from Washington, D.C. and the White House to turn back the clock on environmental protection, states and cities and counties have picked up the baton and have been leading the charge to protect our environment, our public health, and our quality of life for future generations. And nowhere has that been happening more directly and more effectively than right here in New York State. And thanks to Governor Cuomo's leadership, we have had, working with the legislature, advances on congestion pricing to bring a beleaguered transit system, subway, bus, and commuter rail, including the Long Island Railroad, back up with capital funding. We've had significant advances on climate change, including, as the governor has indicated, one of the biggest and most exciting projects for offshore wind coming right here to Long Island. And we have the topic of today's bill signing, which is finally getting rid of these ubiquitous plastic bags that have been a first-class environmental nuisance all across the state. Plastic bags, we've been fighting to cut down on them for quite a long time. As the governor said, they're littering our streets and our parks. They're hanging from our trees. They're clogging storm drains. They're getting into our local waterways. Then, here's what happens. The plastic bags are consumed by fish and marine mammals and birds. It seems as if a week or two don't go by without another report of a whale or a dolphin being found washed up on shore with pounds and pounds of plastic inside their bodies. And these plastics are moving up the food chain. And whether you look off the coast of Long Island or if you look in the Antarctic, you will find plastic waste there in our waterways. As the governor also indicated, the World Economic Forum predicted that by 2050, there'll be more plastic in the ocean than fish by weight, unless we do something about it. And New York is now doing something about it. And so we were delighted when in Suffolk County, the county legislature and County Executive Malone passed legislation to cut back on plastic and paper bags. And we welcome this new bill that the governor and the legislature have advanced that bans plastic takeout, carry-out bags. Another thing the bill does is it empowers localities, cities and counties, to adopt a fee on paper bags because paper bags have their own set of environmental issues. So the real solution is reusable bags. This legislation is going to drive us in that direction, and we're most happy for that. Of course, we still have a lot of work to do here on Long Island. We've got to help our municipal recycling operations address the problems of cutbacks to collection of recyclables by China. We've got to create recycling jobs. We've got to address our drinking water quality problems. And of course, we've got to take steps to address climate change more aggressively and to protect our coast and our coastal infrastructure. All of that, we hope, is going to happen. As Newsday editorialized yesterday and reminded us, if we want to achieve the objectives of the founders of Earth Day 49 years ago, Earth Day needs to be every day. But today is a day of celebration, and so we thank the governor for advancing this legislation along with our state legislature. And as a small token of our appreciation, we have for the governor and Sandra a little reusable bag that we hope you'll bring to the supermarket every day when you go there, with thanks to you for making today's 49th Earth Day a good one. All of us in this room look forward to an even more exciting Earth Day on the 50th anniversary next year. Thank you very much, Governor.
Please welcome Suffolk County Executive Steve Malone.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. I hope you have an extra one of those bags, Eric. Thank you. Appreciate that. Good afternoon. It's great to be here at Long Island University. Dr. Klein, thank you so much for hosting us. I do not have any fish on my tie, just so you, in case you're squinting to try to see. But I am proud to be here with the governor on Earth Day. This is a great day for us in Suffolk County, on Long Island, and across New York State. I want to just acknowledge some of our other colleagues who are in the room today for their work and their support. We have two individuals, one from the Nassau County Legislature, who have been incredible advocates here on this issue. Deborah Mule, I want to thank her. Thank you, Deborah. Great job. And I have to give a special recognition to my colleague, who is an incredible advocate for our environment. I was just with her today on some other significant environmental legislation that you'll be seeing in Suffolk County come into law, and she's doing an amazing job. County Legislator and our Majority Leader, Kara Hahn. Thanks, Kara. We also have with us Town of Hempstead Supervisor Laura Gillen, Nassau County Legislators Arnie Drucker and Ellen Birnbaum, our Nassau County Comptroller, Jack Schneerman, the Executive Director of Citizens Campaign for the Environment, Adrian Esposito, from the Mid-Atlantic Fishery Management Council, Captain Tony Delernia. Thank you, Captain. Long Island Group Leader for the Sierra Club, Charlie Bevington. The Executive Director of Friends of the Bay, Heather Johnson. The President and CEO of the North Shore Land Alliance, Lisa Ott. The President of Coney Island Beautification, Pamela Pettyjohn. The Co-Chair of Surf Riders, Michael Regan. And a thank you to all of the environmental advocates here today for the work that you have been doing in supporting this initiative and the governor's work across the state. This is an issue the governor mentioned, you've heard, that we worked on in Suffolk County. I want to thank one of my colleagues, Dr. William Spencer, who was a huge advocate for this bill and the one who sponsored it in Suffolk County. And as the governor mentioned, there was some initial concern that the public came forward with because of change. But people adjusted to that change, I will tell you very quickly, and the result was a dramatic impact and decline in the use of plastic bags in Suffolk County. So for all of us in Suffolk County and on Long Island, we can't thank the governor enough for his leadership once again on a major environmental issue. Because for us on Long Island, the environment is everything. It is our economy, it's tourism, it's our recreation, it's what we do, it's why people live here. All of these things. Climate change, that is an existential threat for us. We're an island. We're at great as risk as any other region around the country or the world. So the governor's leadership on the environment for us on Long Island is everything, and we can't thank him enough. This is just another great example as we celebrate Earth Day today that New York is leading. In the absence of leadership at the federal level of our government, New York is leading. Governor Cuomo, thank you. Thank you for that. And with that, it gives me great pleasure to invite the governor to come forward on this Earth Day to sign this legislation into law that represents a significant advance in environmental protection. Thank you, Governor.